You guys know what time it is. Yes, it is time for a SoFi stock update. Now, we are seeing more insider buying today from the insiders of SoFi and the management team. This is a great sign that, hey, if anybody knew what was going on behind the scenes, it's the damn insiders. They're buying this stock. I'm buying this stock. That's the way that I look at it. Not too many insiders are buying stock at this current moment in this rocky investing environment. Now, we need to go over what is going on today because there was a lot of big moves across the board. SoFi was up 1.57%, but it did not see a majority of those crazy moves, even comparatively to Square or PayPal that were up in between 3 and 5%. I want to go over exactly why that is, go over the short interest, the technical analysis, the news for the day, everything you guys need to know. And the only thing that I ask for in exchange for these videos is that you, one, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your questions, comments, or concerns down below in the comment section. As well as that, get yourself free stock, link down below in the description with Weeble, Moo and Public for less than a McChicken, a Snickers bar, a pack of Reese's cups or pieces. You can get yourself 3 free stocks as well as 1 additional free share of NEO when you deposit $1 to fund your Moo account. Thank you guys for doing that. Let's get into exactly what is going on. So SoFi, like I said, up 1.57%. We are now flat here in after hours. We are really trying to retest this $10 level. We've kind of got rejected a couple times, like quite literally today at $10.06 per share. But rest assured, I don't think we're going to continue to get rejected at $10 per share. Now, what is going on today? Well, there wasn't really too much news. There was actually a lack of news and a lack of bad news, so that makes the markets bullish. When there's nothing new to react to, the markets have already priced everything in. You know, the trading algorithms, they tend to bid up these stocks, especially stocks that are down dramatically. And I think SoFi is going to get its turn, but really what is affecting SoFi and why we didn't see a huge rally today? I mean, we did last week, especially on Friday, but we did not see a huge rally. That is because the Fed rate monitor tool, you guys can see that the probability of a 0.5% rate hike on this May 4th meeting is now 63.9%. The probability of a 0.25% rate hike is only 36.1%. And like I've went over many times, rate hikes affect SoFi more, or in theory they should, but since the insiders are buying so much SoFi stock when they know damn well what is about to happen and how we're essentially probably going to get Paul Volckered and you're going to see interest rates go through the roof, they're still buying, so it might not affect SoFi stock as much as we would think. That's why investors are kind of pricing that in as a big negative catalyst for SoFi stock, as well as student loan, moratoriums. People don't have to pay back their student loans, and that's really the legacy segment of SoFi and the really a core business segment for SoFi stock. Mix those two together, you're definitely seeing some headwinds for the stock, but due to insiders buying, due to this really being a long-term fundamental trade, I think you're, in a really good shape buying SoFi stock right now. I need to continue to average down. We'll go over my position later on throughout this video, but that is really what is helping to keep SoFi stock down just a little bit. But what I do want to point out is, for whatever reason, if we see this 0.5% probability start to go back down, you're going to see a direct correlation between SoFi stock doing better, the more this 0.25% rate hike probability does go up, and the more the 0.5% does go down. So that's something I will be watching. As of right now, that is not happening, but inevitably I think it will here in someday in the next 6 weeks. I don't think you're going to see this keep ramping up, already pricing in a very high probability of that 0.5% rate hike. As well as that, another very bullish catalyst that I do want to point out that will benefit SoFi stock a lot, and I know I have talked about this before, but it is essentially Russia and Ukraine. Once this does come to an end, which I think it will, Russia can't afford to fight this war. They're essentially losing, right? They can't afford to keep doing this. You have to pay your people to fight, especially when morale is really low. People don't want to die. People don't want to die. They don't even want to be there. And if you're worried about not even getting paid when this is all said and done, you don't really have a huge incentive to fight. So we'll wait and see how that does play out. But when that comes to an end, you're going to see stocks specifically like SoFi take off straight to the moon, because that's going to take off a big supply chain uncertainty or concern the markets have, and that should lower the inflation expectations, thus lower the amount of rate hikes the Fed is projected to do. Hopefully that makes some sense. I don't know when this will happen, but I know it will happen here in the next couple of months. I don't think this is going to take, I mean, at this pace, it might take years to finish this war if nobody comes to an agreement. But like I said, Russia cannot afford to pay its debts, let alone support a war. So that's really a big bullish catalyst that I'm looking forward to heading into the future. But let's take a look at the insider buys yet again. Look at that. We got a lot more insider buys coming in for this guy, Schwartz Harvey Mitchell. Alaham, he's buying more, as well as Micah Hevner, as well as Anthony Noto. Now you're looking at 18 transactions worth $2.36 million here since just March has begun. Since SoFi stock went under $10 per share, they've all been buying substantial amounts of SoFi stock, and you're talking in the millions of dollars. Anthony Noto has put almost $1 million in just himself in the last 2 weeks, and this is a huge bullish sign. I don't think there's any other more bullish sign that you could actually get than insiders buying the stock. They already own a lot of stock. Now they're buying more. They must think it's a substantial discount. So definitely makes me feel a little bit better about the timeline trajectory here and what the business is doing. This is about, I want to stress this to you guys, this is about as good as it gets to expecting a very positive earnings report the next earnings, right? The last thing they would be doing is buying a shit ton of stock before a terrible earnings comes out, at least in my opinion. Anyways, what do I know? The short interest, let's take a look at that. For the day, you're sitting at 18.88% short interest of free float, 136.07 million shares that are sold short, cost to borrow max at 21.51%. This is pretty important as well, with the utilization still at 100%. I've talked about this a couple times, but you're always going to have people that are willing to lend out the stock, whether it's, creating fake shares, right? Synthetic shares and naked shorts. There's always going to be a market to basically acquire stock. But when it's very hard to get your hands on shares, when tangible shares like hedge funds, even insiders sometimes, or institutional investors don't want to lend out their stock, then you start to see this cost to borrow rate going through the roof. And the longer they don't want to lend out their stock for, right now we're getting 21.5%. That's a really good rate to lend out stock. That's not bad at all, but nobody wants to lend out stock. That is also a very bullish sign. As far as the days covered, that is sitting at 3.16. So if you do start to see a bit of that short squeeze action, it can get really good really fast. I wouldn't necessarily expect that, but after all, shorts do have to cover in the end. As far as the option activity is concerned, you're looking at positive order value of 6% for orders totaling $3.72 million. So not a big positive order value day, but definitely a high dollar amount. Yesterday, you've seen 100% positive order value for orders totaling $1.33 million. Over the past week, 51% positive order value, 77 orders totaling $21.99 million. As far as the max pain is concerned, that is $9 per share by this Friday. Again, if you guys are unfamiliar with this, the max pain is the max pain, the max loss that option holders will basically see, right? People that bought calls and puts, buy an expiration at a certain price. And market makers, institutions, hedge funds, they take about 90% of the back end of calls and puts. When you sell a call or sell a put, odds are it's being bought or taking that backside or of the trade by the market maker. So they like to pin the stock around that max pain price. Not rocket science there. It's not a definitive science either, but it tends to happen more times than not. As far as catalyst that did happen today, you did see a couple Fed speakers as well as ECB speakers today that did kind of move the markets around quite a bit. They were pretty hawkish, especially Fed Dally, and tends to be pretty bullish, pretty neutral to dovish, and definitely came out as a bit of a hawk today, but the markets have already heard worse, so you didn't see a huge knee-jerk reaction based off of those remarks. As far as heading into the future, you have new home sales tomorrow at 9 a.m. in the morning. You have some oil data that is coming out as well, so watch oil. That could definitely make a move. You have some Russia data as well coming out, and you have Fed Dally that speaks again, and I believe one other Fed speaker, and you also have Jerome Powell, I believe, tomorrow as well. So keep that in mind. Yeah, it says Fed Chair Powell's speech, so that's going to be very, very important. Pay attention that Powell does move the markets more than anything else. As far as the technical analysis is concerned, watch this $10 level. If we can break out above this, we're clear to head back to that 50-day moving average. That tends to be the trend with a lot of stocks that are beaten into the ground right now. If they can break above their key levels, in SoFi's case, $10, these stocks, they're tending to rally to their 50-day moving average or in between their 50-day moving average and their 100-day moving average. That would imply a move to about $13 per share. I wouldn't hold my breath on that. I wouldn't gamble on that note, but it is possible, and that's the trend that I am seeing with a lot of beaten down stocks. So watch those key levels. Volume for the day was 56.1 million shares, so relatively lower volume than we have been seeing, especially over these last couple of green days. And to see a nice consolidation day, a slight up day, definitely not bad by any means. The MACD is widening a little bit more, so we are firmly in bullish territory. The RSI though is still under its neutral level at 50. It's at 45.97. So this would imply if we see a move to the upside, there is a lot more room to go before we start to get to that overbought side. And when you start to get overbought, that's when you tend to see the momentum slow down, and that's when you tend to see a short-term top on these short-term rallies. So keep all of that in mind. That's going to be very important. Really, the 50-day moving average and $10 per share, that's what you guys need to watch. If we do break back down, if there's a really bad catalyst, then we could go back down to 9. That's really what I would expect. I don't think we're going to go significantly under that until we get closer to that Fed meeting, or if that 50 basis point hike does start to get priced into the markets a little bit more. As far as my position in SoFi, just to reiterate again, I want to let you guys know that I don't make these videos, well, I do make these videos for fun, but I also put my money where my mouth is. So I have 525 shares. I actually have a couple hundred more in other portfolios in Public, Webull, and Moomoo. All of those own SoFi, so you guys definitely want to check those links out down below in the description. Just do all of them. Get yourself those free stocks, sell those free stocks, and then buy yourself some SoFi. If you're not signed up with Webull, I've got Starbucks, I've got Snapchat shares before, I've got Microsoft and Apple free shares before, so check that out if you guys have not already. But portfolio diversity of 11.3% just in SoFi stock. My average cost of $14.38 per share. Market value of $5,076. I'm still down 32.68%. So if you feel like you're the only one that is feeling a little bit of pain here, nope. I'm definitely down 32.68%. As far as the options, I did sell those $15 calls. Again, I'm up about 10%. I don't believe SoFi will close above $15 by July. That's when you're going to really start to see these rate hikes kicking in, that 50 basis point rate hike. And due to the decay that we are likely to see, I'll probably exit out of these sooner rather than later when you do see that move back down, and make some nice money on that, put that money back into SoFi stock. So that is going to be all for this video. Hopefully you guys found some value out of it. If you did, hit the like button and make sure to subscribe to the channel. Like I said, get those free stocks down below in the description. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.